Great. Good morning, everybody. I know I'm still a little backlit for this video. I'm still kind of figuring out the best view for the best time of day, and the sun is rising behind me. Actually, if this tree weren't here, you would see more of the sun, but and you are looking out at the north shore of St. Croix. So enjoy the view, guys. But why don't we just come right into our practice this morning? We only have 30 minutes together. We're all a little sleepy, so let's just dive right in. We're going to start in a comfortable upright seat just to anchor ourselves into our practice. So when you arrive at your seat, go ahead and either close the eyes or leave them at a soft gaze. You don't necessarily have to close them completely. And just check in with yourself this morning. Check in with yourself physically. Check in with yourself mentally or even emotionally. Sometimes our dreams, even though they are just kind of like our subconscious mind unraveling in the evening, they can really affect our mood throughout the day. So just check in with how you're feeling. Did you have any dreams last night? Or maybe because it is an early morning practice, you want to use these next few moments to kind of set your intention for the day. Maybe you want to be more creative, or maybe you're looking to be more patient, or maybe you're looking to be more joyful. So using these moments for yourself, whatever you need for the next like 3 or 4 breaths, allowing you to just anchor into your practice and anchor into this moment. And from here, we're going to start in boat pose. I know boat pose core work so early in the morning, but it's going to wake us up. It's going to start to fan that inner flame, that Agni, and going to warm the body and begin to just really wake us up. So coming into your first boat pose, and it doesn't have to be the most perfect. I really recommend keeping the knees bent. I know it looks cool to have the legs straight, but it's early, the hamstrings aren't warm. Let your knees be bent, but keep your toes flexed towards you. Try and keep your ankles and your knees in a straight line, and try to keep your knees about as wide as your hips. So not super wide, and you definitely don't want them closed. Lift the sternum, draw the shoulder blades down and away from the ears, and you can give yourself a little bit of an assist here this morning and just hold on to the back of your thighs. You can also use your hands as a little kickstand behind you to help with lifting the heart. So let's make our way into a boat pose and just begin to really find that appropriate boat for you this morning. Anchoring into the inhales and exhales, trying to allow them to be equal today. And we're going to move dynamically here. So on the inhale, you're going to lower down to low boat. And on the exhale, you'll lift back up to high boat. So we're going to do 9 more of those, starting with 10. So move with your breath. Inhale low, exhale high. Linking breath with movement. Really using the core. Starting to wake up through the entire body. A couple more, guys. Oh, I have a little hindrance with a cat behind me. And next time you find yourself in low boat, we're going to stay and hold it. So keep your shoulder blades off the mat. Keep your feet flexed, legs straight. One more breath. And exhale, release. Maybe you take a full body stretch, working out those abdominal muscles. You can draw your knees in towards your chest, kind of tilting and rocking your sacrum. And then crossing over the ankles. You're just going to use that momentum from your core and come back up to an upright seat. We're going to transition into a tabletop pose. So I am working with a hand and wrist injury or a little discomfort today. So I'm actually going to take this on my forearm. So tabletop on your forearms, you're not going to get the deepest like arch and stretch when we move through cat-cow, but it's also a really safe alternative if you're having any wrist or hand discomfort. So, and maybe you don't have any hand discomfort today and you want to try it out anyway and just see how it feels. So I'm going to come to my forearms. Maybe I'll move the cat out of the way so you can see. Shoulders are stacked over the elbows, hips are over the knees, and I'm going to move through a couple baby cat-cows here. So if you're trying this with me, you may notice that it's not quite as deep as a sensation as a traditional cat-cow, but it'll help wake up through the shoulders, through the spine. We're going to do one more round. And then you're welcome to either come into forearm plank with me, or you can come into a downward dog and then come right into a regular plank. But we are going to hold plank, whether it's forearm or regular plank, for 10 breaths. Really working with the core today, waking ourselves up. You're welcome to stay in whichever version of plank you're in, or you can just practice a little bit, be a little playful. Maybe you lift one leg for a breath, and then you drop it, and then maybe you lift the other leg. Or you can do this with the breath. Inhale, you lift a foot. Exhale, you drop it. Inhale, you lift a foot. So you have options this morning for whatever's best suited for your practice. We've got about 3 more breaths here. We're all going to lower very slowly down to come into dolphin pose. If you've taken the down dog variation and you want a little bit more movement this morning, you're welcome to take a vinyasa. I'm going to hang out here in dolphin pose to build strength and to keep my wrist safe. So we've got about 5 breaths. So you're either taking vinyasa or you're hanging out in dolphin with me. And then we're going to make our way to a standing forward fold. So if you're in dolphin, you slowly come to a standing position. Be really mindful of your hand or wrist. We're going to walk to the front of the mat and hang heavy here. So that's one of the beautiful things about yoga, is that you can modify just about every single pose to suit you, whether you're working with some discomfort in the body, an injury in the body, or maybe sometimes your body just doesn't want to move or bend in a particular way. Instead of forcing it, just modify. So hanging heavy, you can take ragdoll here, opposite hands to opposite elbows. We fired up the core so quickly, but now let's stretch out the lower back. Let's stretch the shoulders, and let's really begin to get into the hamstrings here. Head and neck are heavy. Maybe you shake your head yes and no. We're going to take a really deep bend in the right knee, straightening and lengthening the left leg. The right hand is going to be underneath of the face. Inhale, lift your spine, lift your sternum, and then exhale, take a twist to the left. Opening up, stretching out, shifting that weight into the left hip, lengthening through that hamstring. And then exhale, we fold. You're going to bend back into the left knee, straighten that right leg, left hand under the face. Inhale, you lift, and exhale, you twist to the right. opening up to that whole right side body. So if you have chosen to work with intention this morning, every time you find your mind wandering, coming back to a forward fold, just bring yourself back to that intention, recite it to yourself as if it's a mantra or a daily affirmation. With your next inhale, you're going to bend the knees, seats, and we're coming right into chair pose today. So get that tuck out of your tailbone. Make sure you can see your toes. Arms come up, gaze come up. Drop the seat a little heavier. And start to get into the energy of the legs and the hips, building strength in your lower back, and using the heat that we built in the core to keep you steady. On your next exhale, you're going to bring both hands to heart center. You're still in chair pose here. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, right elbow, left knee. Take a twist here. Make sure you can see both toes. So if your right knee is popping forward, draw your right hip back. Grounding down through the left foot. We're going to step back with the right foot. Keeping the arms, keeping the torso exactly as it is. Use the strength of your core. So we're still twisted towards the left, guys, but you're going to inhale, lift up, open up the arms, and find yourself in a revolved crescent. Little bit of balance this morning. You're probably feeling it on that right hip flexor. Thumbs towards the sky. Keep your shoulders safe. Inhale, you're going to come center into a crescent lunge. And then exhale, you're going to open up to a warrior two. So deep bend in that left knee. Make sure it's stacked on top of or behind that ankle. Palms in line with the shoulders. Lift the sternum. Shift your weight so you're not leaning forward. Take a peek at yourself. Make sure your shoulders are stacked over your hips here. Inhale, we're going to straighten that left leg. Reach our left hand all the way forward. Take that right hip all the way to the back of our mat. And then we're coming down for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So nothing's changed. The arms are still in warrior two arms. You've just rotated your torso. Maybe the gaze is up towards that hand. Excuse me. One more breath here. We're going to exhale, bend back into that left knee, coming into side angle. So left elbow, left knee. Really feeling a stretch for the inside of the left groin. Shift your weight into the left side of your thigh. So the knee sometimes wants to come inside, like towards the big toe of your foot. Really shift your weight so that your knee is in line with the two little toes of your foot. Exhale, you're going to windmill your hands to the mat. And you're either going to step back and move through your vinyasa, or if you have a wrist or hand injury, you're going to come into, maybe you don't have a cat in the way, you're going to come into forearm plank and then dolphin pose. So either dolphin or vinyasa, your choice. We've got 5 breaths. And you know what? Let's all meet in dolphin, even if you're taking the vinyasa option. Walking the toes in, lifting the hips, pressing down through the elbows, broadening the shoulders, building strength here. This is a great preparatory pose for any arm balance. Exhale, we'll drop our knees. And let's take a moment in child's pose. Come back to the breath. Come back to the body. Just kind of check in with yourself. Maybe you come back to your intention or your mantra this morning. Perhaps it's I am patient, or I am kind, I am grateful, whatever you're working with. And then we're slowly going to make our way back to a standing forward fold at the top of our mat. So you can either move back through downward dog and then walk your hands towards the front of the mat, or any other safe manner that's going to get you there. Exhale and fold. Hang heavy. And on your next inhale, you're gonna bend the knees, drop your seat. We're coming back to chair pose. The hands are gonna come to the heart. Drop your seat a little bit more. Lift the sternum, exhale, left elbow, right knee. Take that twist. Check back in, make sure that your knees are in line with one another. The left knee is gonna wanna pop forward. If that's the case, just draw the left hip back. Keep yourself nice and square here. Take another anchoring breath. Feel that right foot nice and grounded. And you're gonna step back with your left foot. Deepen into the twist. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then as you exhale, twist from the navel, and maybe you bring the gaze up over that right shoulder. Working on a little bit of balance here, tapping into the energy of your core. You're gonna inhale, lift the torso, we're still revolved here, and then open up the arms for a revolved crescent. You may be feeling this on the left hip flexor, like the right hamstring, the right glute, the right quad. Thumbs towards the sky, keep your shoulders safe. High on the ball of that left foot. Inhale, you come center into a crescent warrior, and then exhale, you're opening up into warrior two. So this is one of those poses where it's a great opportunity to kind of self-adjust. Make sure the knee is stacked over the ankle. If it's surpassing like this is where injury occurs. So always behind or on top of. Shift your weight into the right side of your foot. So you want the knee tracking with the two little toes of your foot, not coming inward. This is where injury happens. You're also probably going to feel a pretty nice stretch for the inside of that thigh, that groin. Shoulders stacked over the hips, palms in line with the shoulders, gaze over the front fingers. Now this is not passive. You should be actively squeezing your thighs together even though your feet are firmly planted on the mat. So give it a shot, like squeeze your thighs. You're gonna feel your glutes engage. The groin's gonna tighten up. Inhale, straighten that right leg. Take the left hip all the way back. You're gonna feel a stretch for the inside of that left thigh. And then exhale, come on down, Trikonasana. Triangle pose. The gaze can go up towards the hand, it can go down towards the earth, or straight out with a neutral neck. Exhale, you're gonna bend back into that right knee, bringing elbow to knee here, side angle pose. Really work on opening up through your chest here. So use your inhale and find some space in the sternum, and then as you exhale, just draw that left shoulder back a little bit. Maybe the gaze goes up. Exhale, you're gonna drop your hands to the mat, and you're either or come to a dolphin pose. And then if you are taking vinyasa, you're gonna join us in dolphin, and we're gonna be here for about 8 breaths. When you get to dolphin, you're actively pressing into your elbows. So you're not dumping your weight into your elbows. You're broadening across your shoulders and your upper back. This is building strength for arm balances. Come to your tippy toes. Lift your seat high. If you're bending your knees, you're making it harder on yourself. Hold one more breath. Exhale, drop the knees. Child pose. Take a rest. Come back to that check-in with your physical body, that check-in with your mental body, with your emotional body. If you're working with intention today, come to your intention. Whenever you find yourself distracted, back to that moment. We're making our way supine. So from child's pose, we're lift up and then come onto our seats. Hopefully you guys don't have an obstacle on your mat like I do today. Coming all the way onto our backs. Maybe. Drawing the knees in towards the chest. Hold onto the knees and just start to rock and tilt your pelvis. So because you're holding onto the knees, it's not going to go very far. Maybe you draw some circles. And this is just going to release any bits of pressure or tension that may be building up in that pelvic region. Bringing the right knee over the left knee, like as if you're sitting in your chair with your legs crossed. You're going to reach for your feet. Make sure that your shoulders are still securely on the mat. Draw your knees in and then kick your feet away. But because you're holding on to your feet, they're not going to go very far. You're probably going to feel this pretty deeply in the right hip. So you're pulling your knees towards your chest, but you're kicking your feet away, keeping your spine secure on the mat, keeping your shoulders on the mat, feeling this outer hip stretch. One more breath. Go ahead and release the grip of your feet. Keep your legs crossed, and then exhale, drop both knees over to the left for supine twist. So remember, the shoulders stay on the mat here. You can start to kind of shift your breath now, coming into a longer exhale. And downshifting your nervous system, allowing your body to rest and just kind of reset. This is also the time when our mind tends to hijack our practice. So if that's happening to you and you're starting to think of your to-do list or your work schedule, just come back to that intention you set, or come back to the sensations in the body. Inhale, you're going to bring your knees back center, unwind, and then cross the left over the right. Drawing the knees towards the chest, reaching for your feet, and taking the hip stretch. So you're pulling your knees in towards your chest, your sacrum, your spine, your shoulders are firmly planted on the mat, but you're kicking your feet away. And this is going to intensify the stretch in the hips. Take a couple breaths here. Feeling that stretch in the outer hips. Slowing down the exhales. Releasing the grip of the hands, and then exhale, drop both knees over to the right for your supine twist. Remember, the shoulders are on the mat here. If the mind is wandering, come back to this moment. What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What are you sensing in this moment? And before we really wind down and take a short Shavasana, I want you to think about how you want your day to be. How do you want to walk through your day? You get to decide. Do you want to walk through your day with joy and clarity and assertion? Do you want to walk through your day a little frazzled and disconnected? Do you want to be in a good mood today, or do you want to be in a bad mood today? We actually have a choice. Yes, there may be circumstances that are out of our control, but we get to choose how we respond to them. Inhale, draw your knees back center. Let's hug them into the chest one more time. And then we'll take a final happy baby, just to really get a little bit more hip energy in, feel grounded, connected to the earth, even if you're on the 6th floor of an apartment building. By laying on the earth or on the floor, you are grounding yourself. Bring into this moment, how you want your day. Who do you want to be? Making that, and when you're ready, coming into your expression of Shavasana. Allow the hips to be a little bit wider than your feet. Allow the shoulders to draw comfortably down your back. Bring your awareness to that rhythm of your breath. And each time you take an inhale, breathe in this sensation or this idea or this choice of how you want to be today. And every time you take a slow, elongated exhale, let go of whatever thoughts or reasonings or fears that may be holding you back from being who you want to be today. Let the breath carry you. Shavasana. Absorption. You know, Shavasana translates as corpse pose. And it's literally because in Shavasana, we do nothing. We completely surrender, just like a corpse. There's nothing left undone for them. However, it's also a really nice reminder that there's always an opportunity for rebirth. So slowly, kind of bringing yourself back to this present moment, reawakening, having this rebirth, and reawakening this version of you that you want to be today. You can start by moving the fingers and the toes. You can reach the arms overhead and draw the knees in towards the chest. Reawaken with the ideal version of you. And then slowly you come to back to a comfortable seat. You bring your hands together at heart center to seal out your practice, grounding into this moment with a sense of gratitude. And namaste.